I need to do a quick rant because it's happened again. What's happened? What's happened? People do not understand analogies, or what they are, or how they work. People think, okay, an analogy is something that compares two relationships. There's one similar relationship between two things. You are not comparing the things, no, you are comparing the relationship of the things. I guess I could start with a little story. A long time ago, there was that whole refugee argument, right? And I was arguing with a friend, and I was trying to explain to them how we don't have the resources to take care of people, although we want to help them. And I made the analogy of, say you really care about animals, and there's a lot of stray cats in your area, and you want to help the cats, and you want to take them in and take care of them. But your resources do not provide you with the means to do that. You don't have the money to give them food and the space to house them. Okay? That was the analogy. That was it. You know, it was like the U.S. doesn't have the resources to care for more people when it cannot already care for itself. You don't have the food to care for yourself. You don't have the extra money to care for 20 stray cats. And my friend says, you can't compare people to cats. No one's comparing people to cats. The analogy is resource management. And I just think about this every time, and it comes up in my brain every once in a while, and it makes me so angry, because that's not how analogies work. And eventually he/she got offended because I was like, you don't understand how analogies work. And I'm just like, I do, don't condescend me. And it's like, okay, like, it's the whole bias with people, it's really awkward to be like, you don't understand what you're talking about. She's like, they're like, I do understand what I'm talking about, but you can't compare people to animals. Like, immediately after they say that they know what an analogy is, they immediately say something that proves that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And this happened again just now on the internet when there's the whole abortion thing, and there's that picture like saying, it's saying if you gamble outside of Hawaii, you don't get reprimanded in Hawaii for gambling, because gambling is illegal here. And I agreed with this, and I'm like, yeah, same thing for weed. Like, you don't get arrested back home because you tried weed in, like, the West Coast in Oregon or Colorado or whatever, or Seattle. And they're like, oh, well, weed isn't the same thing as abortions. It's like, first of all, I'm agreeing with you. Second of all, you don't understand how analogies work. And I really like this person. Like, I have nothing against them. They're a very sweet, pure person. But I just want to rant on the subject of people not understanding analogies. I'm not naming anyone. I'm not naming sexes or genders or height or nationalities. I don't know descriptive information. I just want to rant about the fact that people don't know how the fuck analogies work. And these are just two personal experiences, not to mention the countless amounts of time online that this has happened to me, where people are like, oh, you can't compare those things. It's like, sometimes you're right, but it's the relationship between the two things. And the relationship in this case is doing something illegal, something that is illegal in your state and is legal in another state. When you do the thing in that state, you should not be reprimanded in your home state for whatever that action was, whether it's gambling, whether it's weed, whether it's abortions. It just baffles me that people don't understand how analogies work. And I'm going to say it again to all of you. It's something that's comparing relationships. If you're saying, like, an apple and an orange are similar because they both have seeds, you're not saying they're similar. You could say they're both fruits. That's a relationship. Seeds are something they have in common. It's not that they're similar, like items. It's that they have something in common as a relationship. Like, I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but the point is, analogies compare relationships, not features, really. So actually the seed thing would be a bad example. A better example would be house training a puppy and potty training a child. Those things are not the same thing. They're very different. But the analogy that could be made is positive reinforcement. With a dog, you give it a treat when it poops outside. With a child, you praise them when they shit in the bucket in the bathroom. No, raising a child and raising a dog are two completely different things. I I'm not comparing the two. I'm comparing positive reinforcement. That's the analogy in that case. Let's see what would be another one. Let me think. Maybe growing a tree and getting in shape. Those are different things. The common relationship they have is patience. It takes a long time to get in shape, and it takes a long fucking time to grow a tree. Trees and getting in shape are very different. But it's the relationship that matters. So, I don't know. Thank you for listening to me rant for 5 minutes, because this has been on my mind for years. And this one comment on Instagram has just set me over the edge. Like, don't use analogies if you don't know what they are and how they work, because it's not helping any discussions, especially when people are agreeing with you. I just can't understand. Just go look up what analogies are. Really research it, because the next person who tells me I'm comparing two things that I'm not, I might have like an aneurysm.